Hey everyone, Dan from the Rock Nerd Radio Show, and today I wanted to count down my top 10 favorite Transformers from 2022. It has been a big year for Transformers. I certainly bought a lot, but now I'm going to go through my top 10 pickups of the year, and I hope you enjoy it. Check it out.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
The first two characters I wanted to show off are the first and last characters that I purchased this year. So some people may have gotten these a little earlier or later than I did, but the first Transformer that I got this year was the Golden Disc Collection Jackpot. I like this figure. He's based on that great Studio Series Jazz mold, although I do worry that one day this is just going to break off that backpack. But for now, he seems to be in good condition. And the last Transformer that I got this year was Core Class Shockwave, a figure who deserves an honorable mention because he's fun to mess around with, and he has a bonus mode in which he can be held in his ship or gun mode by a larger figure like a combiner. We might talk about that later. But let's look at some of the other honorable mentions this year. The first honorable mention is actually one of the first figures I ever opened up on YouTube, and it is the Generation Select Black Zorak. Now, I don't have the entire thing in frame, I just have his head, but this was an incredible figure, but at the end of the day, just a repaint from the Earthrise Titan class Scorponok, with a little bit of retooling. Now, while I really do like this figure, I love the extra details like the pirate eye patch on Zorak's head there. It ended up just being something that just kind of stands very tall in my collection, looking very cool, but nothing that I felt the need to keep playing with or messing with this year. So he gets an honorable mention. The next honorable mention is the Core Class Iguanus, a figure that I like so much that I gave him all of the combining Core Class sword parts. But honestly, I thought this was a really cool way to kick off the year and show how Hasbro is now integrating Pretenders into a main Transformer line. You know, we have the Pretender-looking shell robot that turns into a very similar vehicle mode for that original Inner Robots robot mode from the original Pretenders. So I really liked Iguanus. I thought he was a very cool figure, something that I messed around with a lot, but couldn't quite fit in my top 10. Another honorable mention this year is the Buzzworthy Cliff Jumper. I loved the Earthrise Cliff Jumper. I love that mold. And when they announced a more cartoon-accurate version, I knew I had to get it. But ultimately, this is a figure that I have multiple copies of, mold copies of, on my shelf, and didn't feel like I could put it in the top 10. I will say I did give it the extra weapon from that weapons pack a few years ago. It's Cliff Jumper's gas gun, I believe. But this is still a really great figure. Ended up being my main Cliff Jumper on my main display. Worth it if you haven't picked it up. I know Target at the moment of this video is clearancing out a lot of figures. So if you haven't picked them up and you want to try to get them for cheap, Target might be your best bet. And my final honorable mention for 2022 is Leader Class Blitzwing. I was very, very excited about this figure, and I still really like him. But I do feel that his transformation can be, or that his articulation can be hindered by these arm blocks. You know, he can't lift his arms all the way. The sword is a little gummy, which I feel like, you know, shouldn't be happening. And the tank mode really does look like a tank mode where there is a jet sitting at the bottom of it. Or, I'm sorry, the jet mode looks like there's a tank sitting at the bottom of it. But overall, still a good figure, worth an honorable mention, but just couldn't crack that top 10. If you want to see what made it into the top 10, sit back and relax, because that's what's coming up now. My number 10 Transformer for 2022 is Studio Series 86 Sludge. Now, I know a lot of people had some issues with this figure, especially in the hips and legs, but overall, I really like this figure. I'm a huge, huge Dinobot fan, so getting these boys in a nice, hefty, chunky plastic way makes me really, really happy. So Sludge is coming in at number 10. At number 9, I have the Legacy Kickback. Kickback is a great little figure to mess around with. He's not perfect, but I really do enjoy him. I do have his mold mate in Ransack that was released in that Buzzworthy Creatures Collide pack. But this one really just stuck out to me. I love the colors on the Insecticons. I always have the black and purple. Looks really good, as well as this kind of translucent yellow chest piece. Transformation simple, it's fun, and I really hope that we get the rest of the Insecticons in 2023. So Kickback takes the number 9 spot. The number 8 spot is going to go to Jhaxus. I love Generation 2. It is a very quirky, odd area in Transformers. It's the tail end, obviously, of G1. And a character like Jhaxus, I don't think we've ever had a toy for in this form. I know we had one in his orange colors from the IDW comics. But having a straight-up Generation 2 Jhaxus really made me happy. I remember when this thing was announced, and then I was able to get it early thanks to Amazon. But this is a great figure. I'm really hoping the whites on him don't turn to yellow in the near future. But so far, mine's looking pretty good. So Jhaxus took the number 8 spot. My number 7 pick is the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Brawn. You gotta know I don't buy a whole lot of live-action Transformers stuff, but when I saw this Brawn announced, I thought he looked pretty cool. Initially, I passed him up, but then I got him on sale, and when I picked him up, he was a character I couldn't stop fiddling with. His joints are really cool in robot mode, his transformation is really neat, and I love this crazy big gun that he comes with, especially with that drill accessory as well. So he takes the number 7 spot on this countdown. Coming in at number 6 is the Studio Series 86 Ironhide. Now, just like you maybe, when they announced this, I thought, I don't know if I need another Ironhide. I have the Earthraz one, and I was very happy with it. But I ended up really liking this Ironhide. I put a pre-order in on him to be safe, saw some reviews, thought his transformation was cool, and I really enjoyed picking him up. I will say I wasn't the biggest fan that I had to pay a Voyager price for essentially a deluxe that's a little bigger. But his transformation is really neat. It kind of does warrant that larger price tag. I'm waiting for a Studio Series 86 Ratchet in the coming years. But in the meantime, Ironhide gets to be number 6 on this countdown. A great toy and a character that I truly love. I just kind of wish he came with like a alternate blasted in chest piece. That would have been kind of nice. We are officially halfway through my countdown, and the number 5 spot goes to Override from the Velocitron Speedia collection that was exclusive to Walmart. Now, I have to be honest, this character originated in Transformers Cybertron. It's a show I've never made it fully through. I don't know a lot about this character, but when I saw some reviews online and saw the stuff about her transformation, I definitely wanted to check it out, and upon checking it out, I couldn't put her down. I kept transforming her back and forth, and picking her up and messing around with her. And although I'm not quite sure where to display her on my permanent Transformer shelf, I am very glad that I picked up this figure. If you can find it, she is exclusive to Walmart, and she's the number 5 spot on this countdown. And one more thing before we cut to the next figure. I like that this figure kind of broke that stereotype that all female figures need to be on that tiny little, like, RC mold. I'm glad to see that we are trying Transformers whose robot modes are in different sizes and shapes and just look really cool. The number 4 spot on my countdown belongs to the Kingdom Blaster and Eject, who got a release in Legacy. Now, this was a tail end of 2021 figure, but I didn't get him in my hands until 2022. Of course, he did have the re-release this year. I really, really like this figure. I'm glad to finally see a Blaster that is in comparable height to a current mainline Soundwave. I love the fact that he came with Eject, although I would have loved to have seen him not be this clear blue plastic. It does worry me that he might crumble at some point. But we really need a Rewind to go along with him. Aside from that, I liked messing around with this figure. He looks great on my shelf. I like that he turns into a very G1 boombox. And that is why he takes the number 4 spot on this countdown. The number 3 robot on this countdown is actually a combination of robots. It is the Legacy Minosaur. Now, obviously, this is 5 robots connected into one, although I am still missing one leg. I don't quite have breakdown yet down here at the bottom. But The combination of these Stunticons just looks really, really cool. I don't mind them looking like armor pieces that got strapped to the Minosaur skeleton. And as I said, the Core Class Shockwave can be held by a Minosaur like a gun. Really enjoy that. Overall, I think this is a great presentation. I think the joints on it are nice and clicky and clacky, and that he's going to hold a good pose. And I like the way that this individual Stunticons work when they're not on Minosaur as well. So even though this is technically a bunch of robots in one, I am calling this my number 3 pick for the year. Coming in at number 2 is the small but very mighty Cosmos figure. Again, he was exclusive to Walmart in that Velocitron Speedia collection. But if you were lucky enough to get a hold of him, you probably know that he's just a fun figure to fiddle with. I like messing around with him. I transform him back and forth. I thought his transformation is very, very clever. I love the colors on him. The greens and the yellows just pop. This was the Cosmos I had been waiting for a very long time, and one that I will probably be holding on to for an equally long time as well. So that's why Cosmos takes number 2 on this countdown. And the number 1 figure on this countdown, which may or may not come as a surprise to you, is the Transformers HasLab Victory Saber. Obviously, the combination of Star Saber and Victory Leo. But when this HasLab was announced, I funded it right away. I think this thing looks great on a shelf. It has a presence. My eye is always drawn to him right away. And I think the combination ended up looking fantastic. Having been able to handle at least a knockoff Generation 1 version of Star Saber, I gotta say, it's great to have a mainline modern representation of Star Saber. I think he looks great. The combination looks awesome. The way that all the weapons connect is fantastic. And this is going to be a figure that I'm going to enjoy for a very long time. In fact, when he arrived, I just messed with him for like a week and a half before even putting him up on display. So he's number 1. Of course, he does have his main foe, Deathsaurus, coming next year from HasLab. We'll see what happens and what spot he takes if he arrives in time. I'm not sure the estimated arrival date of Deathsaurus. But anyway, this is the number 1 figure for the year. Thank you for tuning into this countdown. I hope you enjoyed it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Leave them below, and I will talk to you guys next year. Here's to a great 2022. Let's hope 2023 is just as good. And enjoy your buys, whatever it is that you are buying.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.